Ready? Three, two, and one. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Rare Thoughts with Perry Picasso. I'm your host, Perry Picasso, and today I am joined by a very lovely guest.
Ilana Regalado.
Woo! So we have Ilana on the podcast today, and I'm so excited to just get to know more about you as a person, as an artist, and just overall just an impactful community leader. And would love to hear more about you and your story. Also, y'all, if you see me passing the mic, do not judge. I still haven't gotten a replacement mic, so mind your business. Alrighty, but now with that out of the way, I want to ask you, how would you sort of describe yourself?
How would I describe myself? Do you want me to hold the mic?
Up to you.
Okay, it's okay. You can hold the mic. I don't think I need hands. But...
I'm your mic stand. You said no hands.
No hands. I don't need them. I guess same thing when it comes to a lot of the things that I do. But let's see. Man, when you put it that way, it just kind of makes me go back when I first moved to Riverside. That's where I started being, very creative or listening to other creative folks. I always considered myself a creative person, but I never really selected a certain art. And I think it's because that was my mindset, having to select an art and having to be identified as a certain artist for a certain art. And I think that when you're an artist, that already just gives you an open door to any possibility. But I didn't know that when I was younger. I thought labels, I have to be this and that. And that really tied to my art. And when you want to be a artist that grows and inspire other people, you can't have that limit you from a lot of things. So I needed years and years to learn that until finally so many people gave me opportunities, and I was so grateful that it was finally my turn to give it back. As I feel like I accomplished what I wanted in my life, which was, getting sober, being an artist, helping other people. And, I DJ'd and all of that. I DJ'd, I PA'd, I was on set, I went to school for film. So I did everything I wanted to do in life that I feel I did. Some people can say, oh, well, she hasn't even gone out of the country, because that wasn't in my dream yet. It will be. Maybe, but for the most part, what I've been wanting to do creatively, I've always done.
I love that. Yeah, I think that it's sort of, what is it, like going to the beat of your own drum, or going, do you know what I'm talking about?
Beat of your own drum?
Yeah. Like, if that's not what you wanted, then why would you want to chase that?
Exactly. My mom told me that I've always, oh, siempre vives la vida como tú quieres. Siempre te metes en problemas, pero siempre haces lo que tú quieres y siempre estás feliz. Which she meant to say is, I always do whatever the hell I want, and I always get what I want, and I always get in trouble, but I always end up being happy. I wasn't at first, we all aren't happy in life, but she's right, I do, and it's because I'm determined. My intentions are always good. Like everybody, we all have bumpy roads in life, but I think if you have a goal and you see it and you aim for it, you're able to accomplish pretty much anything. I had a vision of making an event for the community, and here we are. We celebrated a year last month, and it was beautiful seeing a year pass by of all these amazing artists that were part of this event, that still are, because it's still going, and they're all part of the community. A lot of people might think it's, oh, well, a lot of people do that. A lot of the people make these events, or the city does. That's the thing. The city didn't make this, or, the people that work in the city. More like the people who create the city, the community. There's artists all around. I try to invite people that are, even part of the city, that work for the city. Come and check out the artists that you say you're supporting. Well, do it. And, I guess in a sense we force them by them coming to the event. They have to purchase something because, come on, it's so great. But that's how we bring people together, in the sense of, it doesn't matter if they work for the city. They might have not approved your permit. If they're people in the city, if it's just, somebody from the grocery store, if it's another barista from another coffee shop, they're all coming together to this one place, but to meet other artists, to set aside all these differences. And even if they're not, people are talking amongst each other about it. And that's what the event is it's called Domingo Social. First of all, I didn't even mention it, which is Sunday social. That's it. It's like a social, but on a Sunday, the chillest day I like to consider to be on a week.
For sure. Sundays for me personally, though, I always have, what is it called? The Sunday scares or something?
Mm.
No, do you know what I'm talking about?
I always had the siesta. Like
Yes.
a siesta. I always think of Sundays like chill. You barbecue
Yeah.
Sundays.
I guess for me, I always get scared of Sundays as a kid because I was like, next day is Monday. I have to go to school, and it's like, did I do everything I wanted to do over the weekend? And it's slipping away.
I guess when you put it that way, yeah. But
That's
I
just my own thing, though. I love what you're doing. Sorry. It's completely unrelated.
I guess I make you forget about it for 3 hours.
Exactly. No, truly. Truly. Were you always like this as a kid growing up? Like very creative, trying to like gather people together? Like, were you the one sort of perhaps, I don't know, being like, oh, let's get the family together for this, or like, let's do something like this? Or were you like, how were you as a kid? Like, how were you expressing yourself, like creatively or socially?
Well, I'll start very, very little because it will kind of give you the idea. And from when my mom told me this, it made a lot of sense in my life. She says when I was in kindergarten, I had friends, but I chose to, when it was recess, to hang out by myself all the
Hmm.
time. I always talked by myself and sat in the sand and just like did anything, like just talked to myself or got on the slide by myself. And so, since that would happen, they would bring me the new kids. And they knew that in class I would talk, but outside I wanted to be alone and be creative and express myself.
Hmm.
But I think they thought that I was a loner outside, like I didn't fit in. It wasn't that I didn't fit in, it was just like I just wanted to be alone. But they would bring me these kids, and we would hang out for a
Bring you the
couple.
kids?
Yeah, they would bring me these kids that were like that in class. There were new kids, because they were so shy, and they knew I'd get along with everybody. So for like 2 days, this new kid or new girl would be my friend, and then after that, they would venture off into the playground, and I'd never see them again. So, more of a story is I've always been like that. I've always been the kind of person where um, I like to be alone. I like to meet different people, and then I might meet them again, I might not. But that's the beauty of life. Same thing comes with my art. Sometimes I'd be in a phase of doing poetry or that was my biggest thing in high school was poetry. It was the only way I was able to express myself because I thought that I was too emotional because that's what my family told me. Who would have known that years from now too? Like that would be the reason why I drank so much. But that's besides the point. But that alone gave me that idea that art could be a way of showing things and expressing things that I was never able to as being a Chicana, a woman of color, that already being the oldest one, I'm already, put at a pedestal. And even being a woman, I'm like slapped on like this, I don't know how to explain it, like a radar. So every time, like everybody is just on me all the time, And I think that living in Riverside and being a woman of color and being able to connect with so many people is very important. And that's why I feel like being creative puts you at a certain point, since you're doing it for so much, at a certain level that you realize that when you turn around and look, you're helping so many people, and all you thought about was just like building a space. But I didn't realize that building a space can hold so much heart to so many people, and until now I'm able to realize how amazing art is. It's a beautiful thing. So many people can meet one another, even the people that hate each other. They'll end up like just talking for a minute, even if it's for that show or maybe if it's for that talk, But I don't know. It's just so beautiful to know that that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you know that you're an artist.
No, for sure. I'm like, all right. I think events like that just bring so many people from so many different walks of life as well. And especially it being like at a coffee shop, like where already in general, so many different types of people will go to a coffee shop and to make it also like an art event, a communal event. I would imagine that, yeah, you get just people that might really hate each other but still kiki together, and people who really love together still kiki together. I know that every time I go to him, like I always find somebody who I'm like, oh my god, I haven't seen you, and hello, and it's just like such a like fun time. Um, would you say that this is something that you really wanted but have had a hard time seeing or accessing prior to you creating Domingo Social? Like, where did this sort of come from?
So Domingo Social, or the whole idea of me doing an event like that, came from um no, not probably. It was like 7 months in my sobriety. Um I started to have more of a clear mind, and I know I started to see things, and like things that I would constantly do when I was drinking, I wanted to eliminate. Like being angry. I mean, that's going to be a hard one to this day. Like I'm almost 2 years sober and I still get pissed off. But the people that know me and love me understand that. And I need to also pay attention to stuff like that. But I noticed that I always talked to people when I was drinking, and I would just be so drunk and intoxicated. Even before I got to that point, I was networking. And, I had these ideas, and I DJ'd. So I had connections, and I was the person who could bring people together. I've always been that person because of talking to so many people, and I don't want to think I'm, like, oh, a badass or anything. It's not even about that. It's the beauty of seeing people connect with one another. That's beautiful. I don't care that I did that because I didn't. For all I know, I could have brought them together and they would have not liked each other as artists. And then they would hate me. So I'm risking it regardless. But as I kept doing that, I was like, okay, so what is the one thing as I'm eliminating things? What do I do? Man, I talk way too much. And when I was drinking, I did that. Maybe I need to make my friends circle smaller, because
Mm.
my therapist was telling me that too. Like, and when I would go to counseling, for my recovery, I'm like, what am I going to do about that? I still like doing that. But if I can find a good in it, there must be, like, there's no way it's wrong. And then even then, like, I remember I tried to stop talking as much and I couldn't. I couldn't do it. And then finally it clicked. I was like, holy cow. I know what it is. I can't stop talking to people. I network and it works. What if I create a moment where people can feel the way I felt when I was at the grind connecting with people? When I was before I got really drunk at the bar connected with people? When I got up on stage and DJ'd and wasn't intoxicated and networked for those 20 minutes with those other DJs and we created a show? I can do that by myself. And next thing you know, I did it. And I think the hardest part is thinking that people won't see your vision. I always say stick to the people that are closest to you, that like art, because they're willing to support you. And that's why I always tell people, even when you're an artist that doesn't have a vision yet, when you're in that stagnant phase, that's when you help other artists to
Mm.
stay motivated, because that keeps you in check too. And all those times before I had my event, I helped other events. I signed up, or I asked, hey, do you guys need any help? Oh, I can bring this artist and this and that. I've always held a hand. So I think that's why it became very easy for me to build an event like this and have the support of a community.
That's so sweet. Oh, I like that yeah, you're somebody who's very good at just like bringing people together. And it's interesting that you were a DJ beforehand, and I'm curious sort of what aspects of DJing did you carry on over to doing like Domingo Social?
Well, definitely having a space for DJs. The first hour, I usually play music from all local artists or any artist that reaches out to me and they want to have their music played the first hour of the event. Or I usually have a DJ. And most of the times, these DJs that have, which is what I wanted. I know there's some great DJs in the IE, that DJ bars, that DJ events and stuff, but they have that opportunity. And I hope that when they're out there, they're helping other artists that are barely coming up, other DJs to get in these lineups too. So I'm not sure if they are or not, but what I'm trying to do is get those newcomers in and have them hold a space. So all of the DJs that I've had participate in my event, most of them are upcoming. I only had one event where it was one of our local DJs that, they know what they're doing and they have a following, DJ Computer Love. But for the most part, like I have Emily MP3, she's upcoming. She never DJ'd before when she started Domingo Social.
Whoa.
She just said she wanted to try it, and I think that's beautiful. And she's been DJing ever since for my event. I alternate DJs, I alternate bands, I alternate vendors. Everything's alternated, because that's important. I don't want people to think I have favorites or I hold favorites. If they keep coming back, I'm going to say yes to them. But if there's so much, if it's so full and another artist that has recently come wants to participate, I'll tell them, maybe next month. But everybody can be part of it. Even if it's somebody that, I don't know, texts me shitty stuff, really mean things, and they want to do poetry and talk smack about me too. They can do that too. Because you know what? It's your expression. What am I going to do about it? You know, if you have somebody that's performing at Domingo Social and you don't like them, well, I hope you still come. Things like that. And that's what lures people in, and it breaks those barriers. It might even break that argument you had with that person. And if it doesn't, well, it doesn't. But at least you got a chance to see their art.
Hmm.
And you could be like, well, I want to support Ilana, but you really also kind of want to go see this artist and see what they're doing. And I'll be like, okay. I don't know. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful to know that. I created something like that. It's a mimic of what I used to do on Sundays, which is listen to music, write, draw, and back to the grind.
Interesting. So yeah, you just kind of expanded it for everybody else to also join.
Yeah, and then I used to hang out there, and I would have countless of conversations with random people. We used to network after and still do art, and to this day, they're still my friends. So that's why I knew the perfect place, not only because I worked there, but I love that place. Back to the grind, and then just have the community come, and be part of it. And I always advertise and tell the community, like, this is possible because of them. And it will continue to be if people keep coming, artists keep being part of it. The community helps these artists by buying their art or by reaching out to them, because that's important. I always think about the vendors mostly and the artists because they make the event. But yeah, it it's an event that anybody can do, but I like to see it as, something very important because it's my community that's being represented. It's not me. It's not me. Um, they make it. I just slapped a name on a day. That's it.
I think that's very honorable and selfless and just very loving because, I mean, you and I both know that many folks will go into spaces and claim it's for a community, but it'll usually just end up be like an ego trip for them to feel better and be like, this is what I did, as opposed to what you're doing, where it's much more about exactly like what you're saying, like giving opportunities to folks. Like if this is your first time DJing, like come here. If you've never vended before, like show up and like give it a try. And I think that's beautiful. I think that it's like a third space, a space for people to just like experiment, get like their foot in the door and like just I don't know, just we don't really have very many opportunities like that out here. So it's lovely that you're providing that for people.
I think so too, but I think it's like going back to when I was mentioning about being a woman of color. Um, if I wasn't, if I wasn't me, and I saw a person like me doing this, I'd be so freaking excited and feel so welcome to be there. And I tell people that all the time. I'm a queer woman of color. So if you're queer, if you're of color, if you're a woman, you're already you're in to be there. And I mean, and that's basically talking about the minority of people, but it's the majority of our community here. And when I was younger, I didn't see a lot of my community here. So seeing them now here at this event, it's beautiful. And even when, come on, the name itself, it's in Spanish. So like, if you don't feel like you're part of it, like you should, like, come on. I try to make as it as very open as possible for everybody, and it's great to know that. It's great to know that you could come to my event like on June, which is Pride, and know you can come to Domingo Social, and the event is run by a woman of color that's queer, and not by like the city and who knows who did it. Not to say it's a bad thing. You're still supporting our people
Latina pride.
and pride, but at the end of the day, like, wouldn't it be nice to have somebody from the community do it? Somebody like me, even though, yes, I am not originally from Riverside, but every time when I moved, uh, I'm from South Central. When I moved to Riverside and left back to go to LA, I always repped Riverside,
Oh,
even though everybody said, "What the hell is that?" And I was like, "You'll find out one day." And look at us now. Everybody wants to come to Riverside.
I know it's been so interesting how you're from South Central. I think that's so sweet though that you moved out here and you went back and you were still repping Riverside. What was sort of the conversations people were having at the time, and how has those conversations shifted now?
They're in shit over there. Ew, it's boring. Wow, like everybody dresses the same. Oh, there's no nothing. And I was like, what are you talking about? There were some good venues that were back there. And I would always rep back to the grind because honestly, when I think of that place, I just think of art, you know? But yeah, people would say like the dumbest things and I'm just like, you guys don't get it, And I'm grateful that when I left, I didn't leave because I wanted to get out of here. I left because I wanted to get rid of that like love I still had for LA, and I still have love for LA. It's just like I'm not that person anymore. I like to leave the fast pace once in a while. So that's why I'll go for work. But to live, I'm okay here in Riverside. I love it here.
I really love Riverside. I think that it's just large enough of a city to where it doesn't feel like a small isolated town where it's like the same seven people. But it's not too large where you lose the community aspect. And I think that's something that I really, really do love is like we are able to have events like Domingo Social and, like Arts Walk and these sort of like different things that like are art focused and are community focused. And like everybody just kind of like knows each other and like kikis and it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's why I think if you're trying to be creative, if you're trying to build something, Riverside's for you. Now, if you're trying to be trashy, don't come to Riverside because everybody's going to know your business.
She said, don't be messy, keep it classy. Keep it,
I love stirring pots, okay?
you love what?
I said I love stirring pots. No, I don't. Only to cook. Only to cook.
We love a little messy, a little
Oh.
ruffling of feathers every now and
Oh
then.
my god. Obviously my life has always been like that. Just crazy. My mom always told me, she's like, when you went to college and went to school for film, I laughed because I thought, oh God, she's going to school to study her life. Because it was a movie and it's crazy. I think if I didn't live a life like I did live it, even with all, like drinking a lot, making all the mistakes that I did in my life, I wouldn't be the artist that I am now.
Hmm.
And they're like, even with this conversation, I still haven't told you what kind of artist I am. You'll never find out because I'm an artist of every
Artist of
type.
life
Yeah, or something. I don't know. I mean, I tell people all the time, anything that's created by you
is art.
is art.
Hmm.
And I mean, even the event itself, to me, that's art. A lot of people don't consider that art. It's art to me because you have to have, I don't know, a certain thrill and passion for it too. And I do. But trust me, there are times where I am stressed out. But like any artist, we still remind ourselves like what the outcome is. And it's always great. It's always great. So you got to keep doing art.
Keep pushing through. I would love to hear more about your experience in film school and how that journey was. Where did you go and sort of how were your classmates? How was your curriculum?
So in film school, I had a lot of friends in film school, and I'm still friends with them. They're doing greater things. I just decided to stay chill. Weirdly enough, they were not. At my all of my jobs that I have worked as a PA, colorist, editor, everybody has been white. Yes, white. And they all have family that works in the industry.
Right.
I didn't have any family that worked in the industry and I got in. But it's hard. It's hard. And when I was in college, they make it seem like knowing everything is going to get you the job, but I tell people, you know how many times I paid attention until finally I realized that I didn't need to? Because when I started DJing is when I landed my first PA job.
Hmm.
So DJing, I didn't even have to go to college to get this job, but I did need it too because obviously, like they're like, "Oh, what are you studying? You just want to come in here and be a PA," you know. But that's where I also remembered when I was doubting my social skills, you know, like maybe I should leave them. When I reminded myself that I landed the jobs that I have now because of that.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying don't go to college, but yeah, college for me was more of a way to network. So, yeah, like all of my friends in film school, we created like I helped them make their films. They helped me create my short films. It really helped me create a community that I still have to this day. You know, it's a beautiful thing, and going to a film school too, that's in Cal State LA too
Hmm.
was pretty great. You know, there's LA Film School, there's Cal Arts. I didn't choose to go to any of those because I felt that studying somewhere, especially in East LA, where I lived for a little bit um, when I was a kid, it was gonna be a good experience for me. And even my cousin had told me too. He's like, "You're gonna like it, trust me." And it was great. And every time I know people check my resume or they ask me, you know, in the industry what I went to school for, I always say Cal State LA. They're like, "Oh, you were smart. Like you saved money." And I was like, "No, that's what I could afford." And that's what, you know, I got me my full ride. So I didn't have to pay for that. But yeah, college was a very cool experience. I learned a lot about myself, who I was. I mean, I didn't only study film, I studied women and gender sexuality studies. So
Hmm.
I learned a lot about my sexuality. I learned a lot about how to connect with my community too, because I always connected with my queer community. You know, I always knew I was part of the queer community. But the thing is, too, I didn't want to be the kind of person that didn't know how to reach out to somebody and let them be able to express how they identify. And that's what I learned, you know, going to college, you know, and studying the women and gender studies. So that made it even greater to network. And to this day, I use it. Like, like I don't know. I feel like I have this, like I'm this key, like I can transform and go to different ways.
Hmm.
You know, like I can really connect with my queer community, and I can also figure out a way to bounce into that, like, ugh, even though I hate, you know, white supremacist folks, but I can lure to like talk to them for a little bit at least to get what I need and leave.
Mhm.
But college taught me that in the sense of you have to be open minded. You have to listen to everybody, you know, and it's the same thing when it comes to being an artist too. You got to listen to everybody and see it. Not saying that you'll agree with everybody, but while you're observing everything, you'll figure out how to express yourself. And when you do it, you make beautiful things like Perry does.
Thank you. You make beautiful things too. Um, sorry, I was gonna ask you sort of how the just like were you doing a double major when you were at school, or is it like you were just studying as sort of like in addition to it?
So what you do is you have to pick a minor too. So that was my minor. So I
Oh.
got my bachelor's in television and film with a focus in script writing and a minor in women and gender sexualities. I really wanted the major, but they didn't have it at the time when I was going to Cal State. Now they do. You know, my idea was to go to Berkeley later on, but you know, a lot of things change in life.
You can still go for grad. I also think that it's also just like really nice to hear you also say that like that you see the importance of going to college and going to school. Because I also agree that I think that everybody should go. Because even if you don't do necessarily what it is that you're studying, like you still learn a lot. And I would imagine that like like exactly what you're saying, like you feel like it's helped you like unlock certain doors that like it's like a key that you can enter into certain spaces or like talk to certain people. Um cuz yeah, I'm like when you were going, like did you have people just sort of tell you like are you wasting your time? Like why are you going to study this? Like you can just, learn this on YouTube, or like this is like a pointless or something, you know?
Yeah, but I didn't pay attention to them at all because I don't remember that. I don't remember exactly what they said,
You're good.
but I didn't because my father told me this, and my father's an asshole, but he's a great guy. And he told me, I don't care what you study, study whatever makes you happy. Because I don't want later in life you saying, oh, I didn't let you. But not only that, he's like, you're going to study something, and maybe that's what you want to be for the rest of your life. Don't waste your time. Figure out what you want to do. Even if when you graduate from there, you don't even do anything in film. But at least you'll leave knowing. What did he say once? He said, at least you'll leave knowing that you go to a McDonald's and apply, you'll get hired. But the moral of the story is like, I realized that when I was in college, even though I wasn't 100% sure if I was doing the right thing, it was a good way to stall myself.
Mm.
Because my parents are like, she's already in college. That's good. It's a good stall point for yourself. Because then you can change your degree if you want to,
Mhm.
or you can figure out, like, okay, I'll finish this and my degree can actually get me a job in doing this.
Yeah.
So I think that's the beauty of college. Like, if you know what you're doing, you're there, you do what you're doing. And if you don't know, you'll figure it out there. I guarantee you. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I think going there and also just being honest with yourself of what it is that you want to do and what you're also know you're like capable of. And I think I don't know, I feel like sometimes people don't trust themselves and know what they're like fully capable of until, they're like pushed to that limit.
That's so true. Oddly enough, I always feel like I could do anything, but I had a lot of support when I was a kid. I remember my mom was very into us, into what was happening in school with us. So I had a lot of like mentors that were from USC come in and talk to me. They would invite me to like plays, and these are all college, kids, inviting some elementary school kid to go watch a play with them. And I was the only one
Aw.
because I got along with them. So that gated me into different lifestyles and different, I don't know, like just classes and people. So made me see like the possibilities were endless for anything. So
Mhm.
that's why I realized like I could do it all. Like I could really, really do it all. And I always tend to forget until I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, oh shit, I'm brown. Because I tell people like, dude, if you really want it, you can achieve anything. The color of your skin doesn't make a difference. And I know it's me saying it, and people are like, well, I've experienced this and this. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just like if you really want something, you're able to pretty much do it. You know?
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. We're always gonna do it. I
Hmm.
know it.
Yeah, I mean it'll definitely be perhaps a little harder than a lot of folks, but I do also believe that if you keep pushing, like I don't know, I think that I remember somebody saying that like after grad school, somebody was or sorry, after like graduating, somebody was told me, I think it was like a professor or somebody saying that like most of your peers will like not do art once you graduate. I don't know what the percentage is. It's a really small percentage of like actual people who continue doing art or anything that's like in that field afterwards. And that like you just gotta keep making it. Like even if you're not in a show, even if you're not, in a gallery or whatever, like just keep making it. Don't give up, and like eventually like you will land something, you know?
That's so true. I mean, like, uh, let's see. I I I tell people like, you know how many times I'm at the grind and somebody's like just wanting to create something, like even a music video and stuff. That's an easy access for somebody that wants to study film. Hey, maybe I can help you. And the grind's so opening where people can network and that can happen.
I
You know,
filmed there.
there you go. You
I,
see,
yeah.
you did too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like it doesn't matter what your career is at the moment or what you're doing at the moment. There's still time for your art. You have to allow it. And I noticed that with me, as simple as this. When I got sober, I started going to AA, you know? And the more I kept going to AA, I felt comfortable. After a while, like now, I don't go as often, but I still go. Why? Because I'm always going to make room for my sobriety because that's important. That's what makes me be the person that I am now. Same thing when it comes to my art for Domingo Social or for any artist. You know, like you might not be doing the art, you might not be doing that career or that famous artist that you want it to be, but you still have to create somehow. Like figure out something you can
Mm-hmm.
do. Even if it's like for your job and you ask them, "Hey, can I make a video to advertise our job?" Or
The birthday flyers.
yeah, podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
anything, and especially with technology these days, like so many things are possible. Like even making a movie in with your phone.
Yeah.
You know, you can even do a feature film. I mean, I had a friend of mine, Sarah, I helped her create a film called Witches that she had an idea for, wrote the script, she directed. And it's beautiful. And she just came to me at the coffee shop one day because she figured out that I went to school for film, and we were able to create something for the community, which is beautiful. Things like that. Anything is possible. And yes, okay, maybe it's not a freaking like Hollywood film, but I still did something. I will tell you this, being in the industry, I have never directed a feature film ever until I started when I moved to Riverside and Sarah wanted to do her feature film. Besides that, nobody would have given me the opportunity. So, okay, I didn't, it might not be in Hollywood, but that doesn't mean I didn't do what I wanted to do, technically. So, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. You have to be happy. I don't think a lot about when people say, oh, well, you had to go through all of this to be the person that you are now. So, if I paid attention to all those little things, I would, it would, I would kill myself in the sense of like just my brain of just thinking how hard I worked. No, no, you can't think of stuff like that. You just have to keep going, and then that feeling you get when you accomplished what you wanted, that's going to mean a lot more than all those little things you had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think about all those tiring nights I had to think about seeing if the band was going to come for Domingo Social or if the decorations or if my coworker's going to open up on time in the morning so I could go in and fix everything up. If I would thought about all those things and how hard it was, oh my God, I'd be exhausted. But I don't. I just, I don't know. I just get happy with seeing everybody like, thank you for the event. Oh my God, it was amazing. And I'm just like, oh, they had a great time. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just about letting go and just kind of, I don't know, for me it's like also like just like accepting things like it is what it is.
It is what it is. And I think sometimes life built us to deal with that. I tell myself all the time, okay, yeah, maybe some white girl that studied film school would have gotten a job right away, and I wouldn't have been I wouldn't have been that girl that cleaned the restroom that one time at my PA job as a joke because my coworkers made me do it, and they were like, "Why'd you do it? PAs don't do that." Why didn't I knew, but I did it to prove a point that I didn't care. I was going to do whatever it took to get what I wanted. And if that meant that I got joked on, okay, I'm going to pass it aside because my goal is to get a job in film because I want to prove that it's possible for a woman like me to make it happen, you know?
Your mind is set on the bigger picture, on that goal.
Yeah. And then here we are. So I don't know. I just think that it's definitely what motivates me, and that's how I know I'm an artist, is that there's something that's motivating me to keep pushing, to keep moving forward as a person. And especially, like having a clear mind, not having that weight from my past behind my back of my insecurities, of not loving myself, and being confident with myself really makes me the kind of person that I am now. My intentions are fully clear. My intentions to do an event and to be active in the community is to bring people together, because that's how I got sober. If all of these artists weren't around, like even you, Perry, I don't think I would have gotten sober, because I wouldn't have had something to stimulate me,
Mm.
you know, telling me like, I can do it. I can do it. I think when you do things with the least amount of things, it's what intrigues people and makes people see that they can do it.
Mhm.
And that's why when I make Domingos Social, I don't put a lot of crazy decorations, or I DIY them. I make them myself to prove to people you don't need a lot to create something. You just need a lot of people and artists, because artists are your decorations. That's who you're here to see. We're not here to see like the flowers that I made or all these cool like balloons I've decorated. No, no, that's why I don't put them up.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, we are, us living is creating the decorations, it's creating the vibes. It's not the decorum, it's not anything that you can put up. It's the here and now that makes it.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's it's great.
It is. I would now like to sort of pivot and ask you, what is your red thought? And a red thought can be pretty much anything. It can be something that, that you've just been like thinking about like nonstop lately. It could be something that like pissed you off lately. It could be something that like you're really happy for. It's just like a thought that just like has been like stuck in your head or lingering, or that like you just like you want to get it out, but you're like, I haven't had anybody to talk to you about this, and like you just need to let it out now.
Wow. This is like a stir pot moment.
For
This is
context,
your stir pot moment.
yeah. For context, the last two people who I asked, one of them was we ranked the cuntiness of different haircuts, which was like a bob, a bun, buzzed, bangs, and some other haircut. And then the other, another red thought that somebody also had was the thought of people being in echo chambers and sort of like, am I in an echo chamber? So like things like that, that it could be something as funny and silly as like ranking hairs, or it could be something as serious as like, am I in an echo chamber? And I think my thought was like, my red thought was, I forgot what was it. It was something like art and artifice, and the sort of like it was just like some like philosophical art thing. So it could literally be like anything.
Damn. I don't know. I think the other day I was in my room and I was thinking about just, how things are just created,
Mm.
like I think it was because I was watching a cooking show and they were making spaghetti, and then they do that thing where they like separate everything.
Mhm.
So like even the sauce was on a side, and it was so weird. So I started thinking, what if everything was just like, okay, like for instance a cup, right? Like a cup like this. But then, like, what is the cup, right? It's plastic. So if you saw things for what they were, and then at the
Mm.
moment,
Like
like,
deconstructed.
yeah, deconstructed, and then I was just like even as simple as like the paper, and it became a tree and things like that. So I just started thinking a lot about how things are made and things consist of. But I think it's also because I've been thinking a lot about myself,
Mm.
you know, like not my insecurities per se that I have, but more like, like, oh, I think it's to check myself, like when I'm feeling low, like I'm like, okay, like how am I feeling right now, like processing my feelings. Okay, I feel sad. Well, why do you feel sad? Well, I feel sad because like I'm tired.
Mhm.
And then so you're not sad, you're tired. Why are
Mm.
you tired? Because you had a long day at work. Well, girl, you've been working like 8 hours a day for the past freaking 8 days, on your computer. Oh, no wonder I've been feeling this way. So it really helps. It helped me just because a cup. I forget what it was that day that I was looking at. And the spaghetti, but it made me think a lot about myself as a person. You know how sometimes I can tell myself that I feel a certain way, but when I deconstruct my feelings and my thoughts, I realize, oh, it was as simple as I've worked a lot this week, and
Yeah.
that's why I feel this way. Stop trying to hide it. And I
Yeah.
notice how much my mind does that. It hides things from
Mm.
myself to make myself seem like I'm okay, but I'm really not.
Right. Yeah, you're
I don't
like,
know if it's a red spot
no,
or.
that's perfect. You're essentially you're talking about getting to the root of things. You're like trying to see like, am I sad? Where is this coming from? It's like you're looking at a cup and you're figuring out like what are the elements that make up of it, and you're applying that to your feelings and your emotions and your body. That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think because, like before, like I mentioned, I drank because of being an emotional person, because that's what people would tell me. So now I realized I am, but if I deal with my emotion at the moment, it's not that I'm going to stop being emotional, but I feel like if I express to you how I feel, you'll understand me a little bit more. And if you leave, you leave. If you don't, then you're okay.
Hmm.
You know? I think it's because today I had an argument with my mom. She got upset. I got upset with her, but I didn't say anything. It's something that she told me, and it was really mean what she said. And
I'm sorry.
I just left. I just left. You know, she needed something from the store, so I left it too. I left to go grab it, and I put the thing in, and I left. But as I'm, leaving, I tell myself, how do I feel? Like, what am I feeling? I'm pissed off. Why am I pissed off? Because of what she said. Okay, she said something very hurtful, but you responded a certain way that made her say that, but it wasn't, the response wasn't that bad for her to do that. It's the numerous of times she's had to deal with that response that I give her that made
Mm.
her lash out. So what did I do? I didn't respond back and I left to give her time. Why? Not I'm not the biggest person. It's not like, "Oh, feel sorry for me," but I need to give her time too.
Hmm.
And she doesn't need a response either. And that's it. So I need to tell myself that too for myself and my feelings.
That's so mature. Wow.
Well, it's the only way I'm going to stay sober.
You said big brain over here.
Too many thoughts. Too many thoughts, man. If you need somebody to talk to, I won't shut up.
No, it's great. This is a really good one because I'm like definitely gonna for sure be thinking about that. I think for me, my red thought is how much I enjoy silence and being destimulated. Like my favorite thing to do recently is shower in the dark. So like I'll shower at night, have no lights on, have no music playing. I just go in there and I just shower and then I just like sometimes just like stand or sit under the water and just let it run over me and just sit in the silence in the dark.
That's scary. I love it. Ooh, spooky.
I don't think of it as spooky. I think of it as like a meditative
No,
state.
it's not even that. It's more, to me, it seems intimate.
Yeah,
Very
it's very
intimate.
intimate.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be scared. I'd be like, ooh, who's touching me? Oh, when it's just me.
Ooh.
I didn't know I could touch like that.
No, it's great. And like I've just been enjoying just sort of like because I love my studio, but like I've said this for many years, I'm like my studio is very messy, but I hope to one day have a house where it's very empty or at least have a room where there's literally nothing except either sand or salt on the floor. And I just like get to sit in there. And like being in the shower like that has been the closest thing to it. And it's been like so like every time I go in there, like I just have like the best ideas lately and I've just have been able to like really just like talk to myself. So it's been a very intimate experience. And then like I walk out and then I get out of the shower and then just like lay down with my feet up in the air and I just sit there in silence.
I'm gonna have to do that. I do something similar, but I do baths, like a bubble bath,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be in silence in the dark and stuff. But like that seems very meditative. I should probably do that. Yeah, that sounds nice. I
Give it a
like that.
try. And then I walk out and then I literally have rose oil and vitamin E oil that I like slather on my body. So it's like a further just sort of like literally just like again the entire thing just in silence. I've been obsessed with silence. That has been like my thing because like I either be listening to silence or like hard techno or Lana Del Rey. It's like a range, but silence in the dark has been my obsession lately.
Interesting. I like that. Silence. Silence is good. I I no, I've been doing more like sitting and listening to either drumming or
Mm.
classical music, but something soft in the back,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I sometimes I just need to stimulate my mind, but I do like being in the quiet. That doesn't count either because I'm around chickens. You see, like I'm never in the quiet, in the just complete quiet. Maybe if I was, I'd be scared. It is spooky.
It is. I thought I was gonna be a lot more scared, but then like I ended up really liking it. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not complete darkness because there's like a glimpse of light that like sometimes peeks in through the window. But like for the most part, it's dark.
It's like, what if some like psycho killer thing happens, like Psycho and like Curtin Hershey's? Ah.
I mean, if they were gonna kill me. They were gonna kill me with the lights on or off. I was doomed either way.
And I bet you look fabulous still. Oh
Well,
no.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
What are they doing to her?
Um, is there anything coming up that you would like to let the folks know?
What's coming up? Well, next month we're gonna have Domingo Social. I believe it's on the 25th on a Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. We're gonna have, like always, really great bands, local bands perform. We're actually also gonna have somebody sell vegan ice cream, and we always have a caterers.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have caterers that come in. Our local catering company, Two Trees, they do a lot of like organic food. They do a vegan too. So because I am vegan, all the menus vegan, but he can cook pretty much anything, and you can hire him since he's local. And then we're gonna have a local to ice cream company come in, which is awesome. It's beautiful. That's what I have coming up. My December has been chill, so I haven't had a lot to do, which is good. We all need that too. You need to remind yourself, if you're constantly creating, you need a break, because if not, little by little, as much as you love your art, you'll start hating something. And I don't want that. I always give myself, at least after an event, 2 days where I don't even say the event's name.
Interesting, yeah, because
Not
like
be
your body gets overwhelmed.
Yeah, and it's not because I'm like over it. No, 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 no. I'm eager to want to build more for it, but I need to stop myself and give myself time. Because if I don't know what will happen. And it's too much stress for me. And being somebody sober and knowing how my emotions are, why do that to myself?
Is there anywhere you would like the folks to see you, reach out to you if they want to vend or just like talk to you about film or art?
I always say you'll catch me at Back to the Grind. I work there. But I do have an Instagram for Domingo Social. It's at Domingo Social. Um, and anytime I'm at the grind, I tell people I'm usually there Monday, Wednesdays, in the morning. So if you want to stop by, and I'm usually busy, but if you want to chit chat and be part of it, you can let me know real quick. I like to get to know the people too before they vent, just so they know, I know their intention, and it's important. That's the thing too. Like if you're part of an event, or if anybody that's part of the event and they want to bring their friend, I always tell them, let them reach out to me. I'm going to say yes, but let them reach out to me, because the thing about having an event too, even though it is for the people, there has to be one person that controls everything. Hey, if something hits the fan, you need to blame somebody. I'm going to be the one that's going to get blamed, right? So like I tell people, same thing comes when it comes to making sure the event's coming to certain place. I know how I want the event, my vision to be, and I trust myself in my vision. So I have to be in charge when it comes to things like that. I trust it. I'm 100%. I trust myself to be open, be understanding. I don't care if they're like, well, Ilana, they do metal. So they reached out. What am I going to say? No? I can't. Because that's my motto. I don't say no. I mean, it isn't. In the bottom, it says where creative souls and music meet. But in my mind, that's my motto. I can't say no to anybody. Yep.
Slay. I mean, I do think that it is important to at least have like some sort of filter just in case, just to like vibe check essentially. And also, yeah, to like if shit hits the fan, who's gonna, have it together?
Well, if you're sexist, racist, or homophobic, of course you're not going to be part of it.
Get the
You
fuck
know,
out.
get the fuck out. Like, what are you doing here? I mean, come on, please. The owner, queer man. Why would you want to be there if you're already being mean? Get out.
Read the fucking room.
Yeah, read the room.
Well, with that note, I think that's a lovely place to end it. Um, y'all know where to find me everywhere. Art Perry, my website perrypicasso.com, portfoliopicasso.com, and then Red Thoughts Perry also for podcast clips. Yeah, and I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Ciao. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Oh my god.